Certainly it is. Now, welcome to the Thursday edition of Breakfast Central. It feels so good to be here. I am Oluchi Enobong reporting for duty right here on the brightest breakfast show on the continent of Africa.
Yes, indeed. Good morning, Africa. My name is Olisa Chukuma. Welcome to the program. We bring you the biggest African stories from around the African continent. But let's start with a look at the headlines for today, Thursday, August 26, 2021. We'll start in Nigeria, where it's code red as the country's security crisis worsens.
And we will be going to South Africa, where Amnesty International is set to investigate the looting that happened in South Africa.
Also in Zimbabwe, the country is to use IMF funds for beleaguered currency in the country.
And we will be giving you trends across the continent of Africa.
Plus, a look at the newspapers from different parts of the continent right here on Breakfast Central. Right, you're watching Breakfast Central on News Central. It's a Thursday, and our top story starts in Nigeria, where it is code red. Now, the Plateau State government has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Jos North local government area over the attack in Yelowa Zangam village, where over 30 people were killed by gunmen. Now, announcing the curfew, the state governor, Simon Lalong, said that it took effect from 4 p.m. yesterday till further notice.
Now, elsewhere, following the attack on the Nigerian Defense Academy, President Muhammadu Buhari had stated that the military were pressed on to end criminality in the country. Also, Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawale has called for a state of emergency to be declared in the northern part of Nigeria following the increasing number of crimes in the area.
State of emergencies, left, right and center, and code red, if you may. Now, to discuss this spate of insecurity in the country, Nigeria, we have joining us this morning, right via Zoom, a political analyst in America, Obiareri. We're also joined in the studio live by Dixon Osaje, who is a security expert. Well, I'll start with my guest in the studio, Dixon. Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Central. The state of emergency is declared in Zamfara and some parts of Jos. So we are at code red right now with Nigeria's security problem, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, right. Thank you very much for having me. Good morning. It's really a disturbing story because the state in which the security situation in Nigeria is escalating really tells that we're not prepared to protect our lives and property, because sometimes we have lost the value of human lives. Looking at what transpired in the Nigerian Defense Academy is really disturbing, because I am a soldier, I'm a former soldier, and I understand what it is for some group of criminal elements to, carry out an attack against the military formation. In the early days when I was in the military, it's a no-no for you to take a soldier's life. If you take a soldier's life, definitely we will decimate that city. That is so worrisome now that
even beyond that, what does it really take in terms of the security apparatus to really break down that the NDA could be breached security-wise? What kind of level of threat are we dealing with now?
Well, the incident that transpired in NDA is an act of lackadaisical behavior, and I have called for the resignation of the commandant of Nigerian Defense Academy, because sometimes looking at the peripheral threats taking place within the Kaduna metropolis should have sounded a warning to the Defense Academy that, hey, these guys are playing around within our environment, our city. I'm talking about the bandits, kidnapping students from school, kidnapping students from the highway, and the military were so relaxed, you understand. But for me, I think the problem here boils down on physical security, you know.
Okay.
Physical security in the sense that you're supposed to put in every mechanism in place to ensure that criminal does not succeed in their criminal activities, because criminals don't like delay. Now, what I found wrong was that I think there has been an absence in looking at the protection in-depth of the Nigerian Defense Academy. What are the surveillance components? Where are the testing components? And where are the access control components? Because for you to gain entrance into any military formation, you need to have passed through layered of protection. Layered of protection in the sense that if you are successful in beating the first man on the gate, you successfully beat the second man on the gate, you should not beat the third man on the gate. Because if we look at this physical security mechanism effectively, I think those guys that carried out this attack wouldn't have succeeded. But it's a big blow against the Nigerian military, and it's a shame.
Right. Now, Dixon, looking at you being an ex-military personnel, let's look at the call by Governor Matawale of Zamfara State. Now, he has said that they should put all the 19 northern states in Nigeria, they should be placed on the state of emergency. It should be declared in all the 19 states. Is this the right way to go at this time?
Oluchi, thank you for that question. It's such an intelligent question. Sometimes we fail to look at the causative factors that are precipitating the state of insecurity in Nigeria. If you don't know the root cause analysis of the problem, you can't project mitigation factors, because our leaders just think, you know, declaring a state of emergency, declaring curfew, closing the city is really going to mitigate the state of insecurity. I take a departure from that. What really needs to be done is for us to look at the causative factors. How did we as a nation arrive at this stage? Is it due to political reasoning? Is it due to security reasoning? We must address the imminent threat. Now, what do we do if the state governor, Matawale, is calling for a state of emergency? I will slightly agree with him so that we'll be able to decimate this criminal element operating in the ungoverned space. We need to make that ungoverned space ungovernable for these guys, because that is where they run their governments.
Well, Dixon, I agree with you, making this ungoverned space ungovernable for them. But it looks like this ungoverned space is not even governable for us in the first place, being as a nation, as a people, as a government. And you mentioned about lack of physical security in the present, especially with this NDA attack. But how much does intelligence, you are an ex-military personnel, how much of intelligence has been breached as a factor in this matter of security in Nigeria right now?
Well, for me, I think the Nigerian Intelligence Agency should be dissolved. The DMI should be dissolved. Because for you to carry out an attack against the Nigerian Defense Academy, that tells you there's a breach in security, there's a breach in intelligence. And also, for me, what makes me to be very worried, because I have a conversation with some of my classmates across the globe, I just feel that it shouldn't be that easy for you to break all the mechanism in place. You know, for you to carry out that successful attack, you need to first of all beat the man guard. That's what we call the human security. Having beaten the human security, you beat technology. Beating technology, you beat surveillance, is really not acceptable, because if they can beat these three formations of security, defeating the access control, defeating the human mechanism, defeating the technological mechanism, that tells you there was a failure in our intelligence. Our intelligence professionals need to, you know, go back to the drawing board and analyze the threats. And for what I have seen so far, the reason why we arrived at this stage is because for so long, the military has been playing a friendly match with these terrorists. I know the capability of the military.
The Nigerian military.
The Nigerian military has been playing a friendly match with these terrorists.
All right, Oluchi, I'm sure you really heard the comments of Dixie here, but the match is clearly unfriendly for the Nigerian populace.
It is very unfriendly, and a lot of Nigerians are beginning to question the unseemly silence of the federal government on this matter, especially when a statement from the presidency came out saying that the attack on the NDA should be a motivation for the soldiers living in that area. What does this say of the Buhari-led administration, Dixon?
Well, for me, I think the president, the long-time silence of the president actually, instigated the high speed of insecurity. I understand it's a Fulani man, oh yes. I don't want to talk about ethnocentric brutality. I'm going to look at religious brutality, because sometimes we feel in our country or in our climate that the problem we have is police brutality. We are not suffering from police brutality. We are not even addressing ethnocentric brutality. We are not addressing religious brutality. We are not even addressing judicial brutality. We are not addressing prison brutality. Because if we have an effective administration of criminal justice in place, I don't think criminal will go scot-free. But here in Nigeria, criminality is taking the lead, because when you commit a crime, you find your way out from the administration of criminal justice system. The president must come aboard, must consistently address the Nigerian nation, because it's really not going to help us if he continues to remain silent. The last time, or the first time in the past 3-4 years, I heard the president speak was an interview he granted to a TV station some few weeks back. And looking at those analyses, I think he's trying to take some side within his people, because a very sensitive question was posed on him, and he really did not want to come out and condemn his people. Because if you want to talk about security, you must start from home. If your people are causing a lot of destruction or improper behavior or animal behavior against the Nigerian state, I think the president must address. We've been crying of Fulani herdsmen. We've been crying of a lot of attack from the east, west, south, and north. And that was what precipitated the emergence of Amotekun and other regional security outfits. So for me, the presidency needs to do more. They need to come on board and also ensure that the Nigerian lives are well protected, because that was how they came into power.
Yeah,
I believe we're being brainwashed in 2015.
You are a security personnel. You've been with the military formations before. Now, I need to ask, because we're talking about bandits, headsmen, whether Igbo or Fulani or whatever.
Yeah.
With the attacks in Kaduna, what do we call them? Are they still bandits? Are they still headsmen? Couldn't we prescribe these people as terrorists once and for all? Because it looks like if they can, because I'm talking about the level of intelligence to breach the NDA and beyond. So where are we now? Should we just throw away these bandits in the gutter and just go with terrorists, and that's what they are? Well,
name calling will never define safety. When you look at name calling, terrorism has no universal acceptable definition. When you call me a terrorist, perhaps I might see myself as a freedom fighter.
Isn't calling these people bandits or unknown gunmen somehow a reductionism of the threat level that we are?
It's painful.
Or perhaps an excuse for such?
Olisa, it's very painful, because each time I hear or heard about unknown gunmen, we need to we need to know them as a known gunmen, because calling them unknown gunmen tells you the ineffectiveness of the security agent. So for me, those guys are not bandits, they are terrorists, and they must be declared as terrorists. The reason why they've not been declared as terrorists, I presume, was because there is no unity of purpose or somebody coming on board to identify themselves or, project the reason why they are carrying out an act against humanity. So for me, the federal government must go all out, deny these guys of sleep. Terrorism is achievable. Security is achievable. Are you with me? You need to deny them sleep. You need to deny them resources, because we're not looking at all the mechanical factors or technological factors that we can apply to mitigate this high rate of insecurity. One, we need to look at de-resourcing these guys. Where are they getting their resources from? Who are the people in charge of sponsoring these guys, known as conflict entrepreneurs? Who are the conflict entrepreneurs? Because the people in government, or some people in government, or in some part of Nigeria, are furnishing these guys with arms and ammunition. We must go after those conflict entrepreneurs. If we don't go after the conflict entrepreneurs, or at least what we'll find ourselves doing is continuous killing of criminal, because every day by day, for example, Boko Haram sprang up in 2012. A child who was born in 2009. A child who was born in 2009, Olisa, is 12 years old today. And that child could, be brainwashed and grow up with such ideology. So we need to look at de-resourcing these guys. Having de-resourced these guys, we also need to look at delinking these guys. Go to your government space where they are taking shelter from. Decimate this guy day in, day out. We give them sleep. If you deny them sleep, they will not act, because they sleep by day and they act by night. Go by day, decimate them. Go by night, decimate them. But yeah, the reason why I say the military has been playing friendly match with all these guys was because these guys are some group of criminal elements. We have the army, the navy, the air force that comprises of the military. We have the police. We have other security agents, and some group of criminal elements are holding us hostage. I bring this down to greed. I bring this down to an act of inhuman behavior by our leaders, because if we are ready to take charge and control the security level of Nigeria, we will achieve this. If only will take a departure from greediness.
Right.
Wow.
Now, Dixon, I mean, you said quite a lot. Now, let's not forget how this bandit started. Bandits or terrorists or headsmen, call it any name we want to put it. It first started with the primary schools, now looking at Kaduna State, and then gradually secondary schools and higher institutions. Now, it's the NDA that has been attacked. What do you think prompted these attackers to hit the NDA? What message are these bandits actually trying to pass at this point?
Well, they are testing the integrity of our territorial integrity, of our territorial defense. They are testing. They've tested the integrity of our national defense.
Okay.
They've tested the integrity of our national security. They've tested the integrity of our military. You know what transpired in NDA? It's just like, they just want to test run how they are going to hit on all other military, formations. Kaduna State harbors the highest formations of military institutions. And it's regrettable that we cannot hit these guys. Oluchi, you rightly talk about attack on our schools and pupils. The truth is that Nigeria is a signatory to the Safe School Declaration in Oslo, Norway. That declaration was orchestrated by Argentina and Norway. And Nigeria was a signatory among the 140 countries that signed the Safe School Declaration. What does that imply? To protect our students, our teachers, our lecturers from attack. But we're not doing enough in respect of that Safe School Declaration. If we fall back to that procedures of the Safe School Declaration, apply all those security protection in depth in that declaration, we will be able to mitigate.
Well, Dixon, I'll hold you to that point now, because it does seem, Kaduna State almost like the kidnap capital of the world. Now, staying with the security situation in Nigeria, the federal government says its recent intervention to equip better the nation's police has started yielding positive results now through the Police Intervention Trust Fund. Now, Minister of Police Affairs Mohammed Danyadi told reporters in the nation's capital, Abuja, that the federal government's efforts is a testimony of his commitment, in their own words, to reform the country's security sector.
The intervention of Mr. President in the area of police equipment through the Police Trust Fund has started to yield the desired results. A few days ago, I was at the force headquarters for the pre-commissioning inspection of about 200 Buffalo branded vehicles, bulletproof vests, protective helmets, drugs and medical equipment procured by the Police Trust Fund. The Police Trust Fund has also procured arms and ammunition, riot control equipment, and the combat equipment for the police special weapon and tactical squad. Several other intervention projects being embarked upon by the Trust Fund under its 2021 budget will soon be unfolded. The problem of fueling of police operational vehicles will soon become history, as the ministry in its 2021 budget secured about 5 billion.
All right, so that was police speaking there, and in that one talking about the Police Trust Fund. Oluchi,
right.
Many people will raise a bit of eyebrows. Yes, they've got arms, they've got ammunition, but the Police Trust Fund is perhaps, is it just scratching the surface a bit in this fight against, insecurity in the country?
No, exactly, Olisa, and that's the next question I need to ask Dixon, because looking at the reform and the intervention fund that has been pumped into the police sector, has it really yielded results? Has it been, is it still as successful as being reported by the Minister of Police Affairs that we just listened to?
Oluchi, thank you for that question. You see, sometimes we think that monetary value, yes, monetary value plays a big role in the state of insecurity in Nigeria. Going by the police, what's it called, decision, or the fund, projecting more fund in the police is not the problem we have within the Nigerian police. There are two major problems that the Nigerian police are suffering from. One of the problems the Nigerian police are suffering from is command negligence. And the second problem they are suffering from is fire discipline. I can attest to that any day, anytime, anywhere. Command negligence in the sense that we are not holding most of these police leaders accountable, from the DPO to the area commander to the commissioner of police. The police guys out there just carry out activities the way they like, and that was what resulted to the last NSAS movement because of command negligence, in the sense that there's no proper discipline within the Nigerian police force. I'm a soldier, I understand, and I know the discipline in the military force. Like, for example, the second objective I want to talk about, which is the fire discipline. At any given time, the policeman will want to point his gun at you. At any given time, the policeman will cock the trigger, and at the end of the day, they will tell you that it's it's a misfired or they misfired. I must tell you the truth, there's nothing like misfiring, because it takes 3 procedures for the bullets to get out of the rifle. The first time you have to cock on the safety and press the trigger. You can't make 3 mistakes at the same time. That's why in the military, when you are misfired, you'll be dealt with or possibly dismissed. So the Nigerian police, first of all, needs to address the fire discipline of their men. They need to understand that they are really projected to serve the Nigerian public, not to intimidate the Nigerian public. They need to see themselves as a friend to the citizen, not all about intimidation. If we address command discipline within the police, and also if we address fire discipline within the police, ensure that every arms and ammunition are accounted for, every bullet shot in the air are accounted for. Sometime last week, I was going to the police barrack, a commander was driving by, and some of these boys were saluting him with a gunshot.
Wow.
That is erroneous, and it's not acceptable. So command discipline is very essential, and we need to, command negligence must be checked, then fire discipline must be checked. If we look at those 2 factors and then project the monetary and the hygienic factors to the policing system, the Nigerian police will stand up to the task.
Thank you so much, Dixon Osaji, for coming on Breakfast Central Security Experts. We love your analysis and everything. We hope to have you once again on the program.
It's a good one being here. Thank you for all you do, because I always say any day, anytime, that your allegiance is to the people.
All right. Well, still Breakfast Central on News Central. More to come after this short break. You're still watching Breakfast Central on News Central. Let's take you to South Africa, where a month after the unrest that rocked the countries and the government, now human rights organizations are still grappling with the reasons for the violent looting. Now, economists, however, believe that the effects of the looting have yet to be fully experienced in the losses of jobs, and the government have also vowed to investigate the reasons behind all that looting. But what about the 337 lost lives in the process?
Well, Amnesty International South Africa is therefore calling for thorough investigation, not only into the economic damage, but also into the massive loss of lives. Now, joining us from all the way from South Africa is Amnesty International South Africa Executive Director, Shanila Mohammed. Good morning and welcome to the program. Now, there are currently several investigations that are planned to look at the reason for the unrest. Do you actually believe there's a need for the Commission of Inquiry to go into the effects and reasons for the unrest?
Good morning to your viewers. Well, in our view, there is no need for a commission of inquiry. We have seen many commissions of inquiry in South Africa. I mean, at the moment, the Zondo Commission looking at corruption and state capture has just wrapped up at a cost of over 1 billion rand. We saw the Marikana Commission of Inquiry at a cost of 53 million rand. And, today we are still seeing no results coming out of the Marikana Massacre Commission. So in our view, there is enough evidence sorry guys, in our view, there's enough evidence out there already that does not require a commission of inquiry. We feel that Amnesty in South Africa itself has done its own investigation on the ground. And, this is not something that came out of the blues. It was being announced, it was being spread on social media. There was a lot of knowledge that this was going to happen. I think what we need now is thorough investigations into the causes of death of those people that have died, but also the instigators, the ones who started it, the ones who were responsible for it. And we're still seeing the damage even today. Chemical companies have gone up in flames, which has resulted in huge environmental concerns. Billions and billions has been lost in economic, with shops being looted, with people's businesses going up in smoke. So what we need to see now is action being taken against those responsible. And, we know that people have been arrested, a special court has been set up to deal with this, but we still have yet to see prosecutions. So we need to start seeing the state arm moving to ensure that the prosecutions happen, that those that are accountable are brought to justice.
Well, Shanila, you mentioned about lots of people dying. More than 300 people died, and there's still no clarity on how many of them actually died in terms of the number. Surely there should be more priority on this, don't you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think that, that the fact that over 300 people have died is a horrendous failure on the part of the state. And as an Amnesty International, we lay the blame solely at the door of the South African government because, the intelligence services failed, the state arms like the police failed. They failed to protect citizens who have the right to life. And, if you think about the fact that it was only 4 days later that the police actually got into action. I mean, why is nobody being held to account for that? Because somebody has to pay for the lives of those that have died, and it's got to be the state. First of all, they were late in responding. Secondly, their security intelligence failed. And thirdly, there's still no report on causes of death of each of these, over 300 people that have died. And, they died unnecessarily. This could have been avoided had the state responded effectively, not only to prevent this, but to prevent the loss of life.
Right. Now, talking about late response by the state, if there were to be some sort of commission of inquiry or investigation, what key areas should the commission focus on?
Well, first of all, I think we need to understand how we got there in the first place. So, if you go back into what happened, the violence and the looting started after the incarceration of the former president, Jacob Zuma, who was sentenced to 15 months by the Constitutional Court for contempt of court because he refused to appear before the Zondo Commission of Inquiry that is looking into state capture under his leadership. And this is what the trigger was. And, so we need a commission inquiry, if we are going to have one, to look at, who were the instigators of this, because it didn't just happen. There were instigators behind it. People, were responsible for, and if you look at the businesses that were targeted, it was very, very strategic. I mean, the president of this country said clearly it was an insurrection. It was not just about people going out into the streets. So there was a clear plan. We need to know who was behind this. We also need to know why the state apparatus failed. So why did the police take 4 days to respond? Why were the police not stopping looters when they were looting? What caused the failure of the intelligence services? And, why are we still under threat? I mean, just about a week ago, there was a warning issued that there may be further unrest and looting. Why are we still here? Why are those responsible not being brought to justice? So we need to unpack what happened, and that's what a state of inquiry would do. But also we need to bring perpetrators to justice, because this was a horrendous moment in the history of South Africa where a lot of economic gains have been unraveled, and we have yet to see the impacts. We already see that in April of this year, it was noted that 10 million people in this country do not have a proper food, so people are starving. We've seen COVID hit people's jobs. There's a 32.6% unemployment. So the country was already reeling under economic crisis before COVID and before this crisis hit us. And of course, who is going to suffer at the end of it? It's the people of South Africa. They're the ones who have lost jobs. They're the ones who are really going to be further plunged into poverty and inequality. Well,
Shanila, you mentioned about the instigators there, but there have also been lots of speculation about the reasons for the unrest and the looting. But many experts have also pointed to perhaps the social underlying economic issues in the country. What do you make of this?
Well, you know, South Africa has got one of the highest inequalities in the world. You know, the rainbow dream post-1994 has never come true. You know, the economy is still very much controlled by, you know, big business, by corporates. And, you know, the people of South Africa have not seen the gains. I mean, we have, you know, like 53% of people don't have access to clean drinking water. People are still living in horrible conditions in shacks. You know, the people of South Africa, the majority of them are not benefiting from, you know, what the independence was supposed to have brought for them. But when it comes to this particular sort of violence and looting, I mean, our analysis as Amnesty International is that actually, you know, it's very easy to instrumentalize and to use people who are already unhappy, who are already, you know, disaffected by the state, who already feel like they have been failed, and who are hungry, who do not have jobs. And, you know, in this instance, it was easy for those that were instigating this violence as a political message to President Ramaphosa's government to utilize these poor people. So, you know, the people, you know, were informed ahead that this looting is going to take place. They were encouraged to go and loot, and we saw this happening. And you know what was so interesting is that it wasn't just poor people that were looting. It was middle-class people. There were some rich people who were looting. There were people of all races, of all, you know, stratas of society that were looting. So again, they were opportunists, but amongst them were poor people. The majority were poor people. And I think, you know, when you are poor and somebody says to you, listen, go, you know, there's a food shop that we're going to set on fire, go and get as much food as you want. If you are poor, if you don't know how you're going to feed your family, why would you say no to that? Right. So again, we're seeing an instrumentalization of poverty, inequality for political gains.
Well, lots to unpack there, but thank you so much to Shanila Mohammed, Executive Director, Amnesty International South Africa, for coming on the program today, Breakfast Center. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, now, so let's look at what the stories on the front pages of our papers are saying this very morning. All right, and we're moving straight to the papers. We're looking at South Africa. That's the very first paper. That's the Sowetan paper this morning. And the Sowetan has quite a lot. Now, the main story here says, don't panic over licenses. Now, the writer says there is a support system in place. And this is coming from the Gauteng Transport Minister. You can get more details from page 3 of the Sowetan this morning. Also from Sowetan, it says, double dollar for Chiefs. Midfielder stars in first win. This is the back page of the paper. And on page 16, dad jailed for daughter's rape 21 years ago. A very sad one, but this and much more you can get from the Sowetan paper this morning.
All right, quickly we go to the Punch in Nigeria to look at the front page, and it's all about insecurity in Nigeria. Incessant killings. Plateau, Benue, gunmen kill 44. Youths deposit corpses at government house. So there you have it on the front page. There's also a picture of some really sad stuff, and that's a picture of a burnt house and youths during the protest against the attacks in the Yagazangam area in Jos North local government area of Plateau State on Wednesday. So a bit of protesting youths carrying bodies in trucks. So a bit of sad ones. There you have it on the front page of the newspaper in Nigeria called The Punch.
Right now, away from the papers, let's now bring you a recap of all of our top stories. And we looked at Nigeria as the security crisis worsens in the country.
Also, Nigeria set for security sector reform because it's code red.
And we moved on to South Africa, where Amnesty International is set to investigate the looting that happened in the country. Right, and coming up next on the program.
On Breakfast Central coming up next, well, all about the trends across Africa with Trendwave.
And in the world of
Basket
sport,
2021, Day 2 updates, Nigeria starting up with a victory.
And Zimbabwe to use IMF funds to help the economy.
You're still watching Breakfast Central on News Central. Now you can download the News Central mobile app. Just head to your Play Store or iOS, and please hurry and download it right away so you can get the very latest when it comes to news, politics, sports from around the world of Africa.
All right, and we're moving on to the business update with our correspondent.
Our focus on the business world today centers in Zimbabwe, where the government says it will make use of more than the half of the $961 million allocated by the International Monetary Fund, as the IMF, in the form of special drawing rights to support the beleaguered currency in the country.
Now the government has abandoned a ratio 1.1 peg between a precursor of the reintroduced Zimbabwean dollar and the greenback in February of 2019.
All right, don't forget, you might recall yesterday we talked about it, the IMF fund for Zimbabwe. We also had our correspondent, Leader Makina, talking about how will this money be used, especially recovery from COVID-19 in Zimbabwe.
Now, let's also not forget that Lala also made mention of the fact that the country and the government had been quite inconsistent in terms of transparency and accountability when you're looking at how previous monies have been spent. Now, this has also really put fear in the minds of the people of Zimbabwe in terms of how will this fund this time around be fully utilized in the full glare of the public.
All right, so the money in question, $961 million received from the IMF. The government says it will use it as special drawing rights to support the beleaguered currency. So half of that, so that's over $300 million US.
Well, we'll need to wait to get to Business Edge, because I know Tolokpe Adelere Balogun will be there to give us more details, because we understand that Zimbabwe is not the only African country who has received money from IMF. Nigeria also, which is quite questionable character, has received money from IMF, and this money is supposed to be used to better the economy and to also improve the state of the nation.
Looks like everybody will get money from IMF. After all, we're all trying to come out or claw out of the COVID-19 pandemic. Right, so still watching Breakfast Central. It's a Thursday. Up next is Trendwave.
Right, it is a Thursday edition. Now, every day we read so many stories which end up causing a stir on the social media space. Now, to tell us what stories are trending and getting all the buzz, we have Amal Kansime with Trendwave. Good morning, Amal.
Good morning, guys.
What's the
How are you? Now, the first Trendwave has actually inspired my dress code today. As we all know, you know the saying, if you talk, you collect. Well, popular actor Jim Iyke took it quite literally, having visited the notorious blogger Uche, for his comments on social media a few weeks ago, I would say. Now, here's what started the fire. The blogger took to social media to say that he heard the fellow actor doesn't buy expensive clothes in Nigeria, but has them imported from abroad. Now, just to quote him, he said, "Please, nobody should beg me on this matter because I have already made up my mind on this issue. Is Jim Iyke the only one in Nollywood?" And he goes on to, give different accusations. Now, we have seen this specific blogger give his opinion on so many celebrities and get away with it. But I mean, this time he met his match, I guess. And Jim Iyke visited him at a studio. It seemed to be a studio. And there is a video with, the altercation. Let's take a look at the video.
Please, I'm sworn in. Wait, how did you know that I'm here? Wait, why did I know you're here? You think I won't find you? You think it's not around? It's not wrong. You allow this animal. See, what's he doing here? Yes, you carry you for this way you come here. You know they are looking for you. What is he doing here? Are you mad? Are you mad? Are you mad? My police were acting out for you.
Well, social media is actually divided on this because some people feel like he had it coming. He has bullied a lot of celebrities online, giving false accusations that sometimes make the celebrities lose their fans. So some people feel like Uche deserved it. Other people say it's just social media. You don't need to take it to the real world. But we have some comments about it, so let's just look at what the people are saying. We have Sam Induka who says, Jim, I know they do social media fight, Babana, John Wick. We also have Nugu says, this camera guy, his only assignment, he fumbled his only assignment, basically. We have, I think we could take, wow, this is, yeah. We also have, next time, let EFCC do their job, not you questioning their source of wealth and carelessly attacking him on social media. So it seems most people, the majority of the people believe that he really had this coming at some point. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad for him in some way. Even if he had it coming, well, is that enough reason for him to take laws into his hands? I mean, talking about Jamaica physically attacking the other man.
That looks like an altercation.
We have to remember these are human beings. Imagine reading things about yourself on social media with someone, not someone with one follower, someone who has a huge following.
Amal, human beings follow the law. That's why the law was made. It is made for humans.
I'm sure. Okay, so Amal, I'm guessing this has really made a trend on the social media space. Are we going to see perhaps legal proceedings? Would there be charges taken? Because this looks like a case of a brawl. If not, I don't want to tilt towards assault. But where are we going from here between Jim Ike and Uche from this one now?
And Amal, could this be a stunt of some sort? Remember, Jim Ike just released a movie, Bad Comments.
Yeah. Yes, that could be something given the title of the movie and the whole idea of his movie. So it could be something that he maybe didn't communicate to Uche, or he did, which I actually hope is the truth because I don't support violence no matter what. Right. But I guess the trolling needs to stop for other people who are outside there that continue to bully people.
What does it really do to the image of Jim Ike? Because he's a popular actor, he's a celebrity, you know, for him being seen in that kind of scenario.
If he be seen as storm.
But Jim Ike has he's known for that, for being a bad boy. So I don't think people are
And it looked like a Nollywood movie, an unscripted Nollywood movie. The script, you know, not a script, but it clearly sounded and looked like Jim Ike, almost like, you know, do you know who I am? Like a Nollywood movie, and, you know, before you know, it went off. All right, Amal, thank you for the latest on that one. So what's up next on the trend waves?
Now, next, I'll take you to the international side. Now, honestly, who does not love Beyonce? Beyonce recently became the first black woman to wear the Tiffany Stone by Tiffany & Co., which is well-deserved. I mean, it's beautiful to see black ladies lead in this industry and do, you know, groundbreaking things. But as we all know, these minerals are from Africa, and this stone specifically was mined in South Africa, which has people angry because she preaches, you know, black power. She did a whole album about black power, and she's exposing a stone that, you know, many could say was stolen and taken away from its base. Her mother, Tina Knowles, came out to defend her by stating that how many people actually check for the origin of their diamonds. She put out a tweet, we can take a look at the tweet. She put out a tweet saying how many people actually find out the origin of their diamonds. So there were so many tweets. Social media is quite torn about this. Let's just look at the comments about this. We have Afro DNA who says it's difficult because if you support Black Lives Matter, you make a whole project celebrating Africa and its people. You claim to be pro-black and an activist, but then you get employed by the NFL that ended the career of another activist. You chose to support the image of a colonial blood diamond that destroyed millions of African lives and environment. Yes, everyone has a choice to do what they want, but you cannot be conflicting with the messages you are putting across to the world. If you're an activist and socially aware, that it should naturally reflect in your choices. Is it all for money or is it to create change? I admire them, but criticism is needed for all and everyone, even us as individuals. Wow.
All right, so I get the drift that Beyonce is being criticized for the diamonds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Beyonce, both Beyonce and Jay-Z, but mainly Beyonce because she was the one wearing it. And there were beautiful pictures. There were very beautiful pictures of her and Jay-Z. But I can see where people are coming from. But then again, maybe she wants to change the narrative, which also Jay-Z was doing with the NFL. So I can't wait to see how, I don't know if she's going to put out a statement, but as we all know, Queen Bee never talks. So, I mean, it's a very beautiful, very, very beautiful, very beautiful stone. But what do you guys think about this?
Well, I think it's the case of PC, political correctness, and perhaps conservative stance on some issues. So we'll continue to follow this story.
Yeah, but you know, Odessa, the mom had a point there, asking people that how many people go about to do research when they're trying to source for something. Or take, for example, you want to eat chocolates. How many people actually go back to say, oh, the cocoa was gotten from where? The sugar was gotten from where? This was gotten from where? Those are valid reasons, really.
But I think it goes back to how people expect celebrities to live a different life than they live, because and when you want to buy an engagement ring for your partner, you don't go like, oh, where was this mined? Or like you say, chocolate. But when a celebrity does it, then, oh, you know, you're being fake, you release an album. Same with, well, even going back to Jim Ike, when people get angry on social media, we have seen people call out people and, you know, like I said, I don't support violence, but do the same thing if it's real. But when a celebrity does it, then, oh, no, he needs to set an example for everybody else. So it's kind of the, I'd like to call it, I don't know if I can call it hypocrisy, that we expect celebrities, they're almost robots.
All right, thank you very much, Amal, for the latest when it comes to the trend waves.
Thank you.
Up next, right here on Breakfast, sports. All right, let's get more based when it comes to sports. We'll talk about the AfroBasket 2021 going down in Rwanda, Nigeria. Yes, Africa's started life quite well out there in Kigali yesterday, and that man there, Uzodimma Utomi, had 15 points and defeated opponents Mali 81-73 in their Group C opener at the Kigali Arena in Rwanda. Also in Group C, we saw fellow West Africans, Ivory Coast now. They beat Kenya 88-70. Kenya coming back for the first time in 28 years to the AfroBasket men's competition. And they made history. How? Because they had a female coach from Australia. Yes, Liz Mills. She became the first woman to lead a basketball men's team to a major continental final. Not a bad one, although Matt Costello mentioned that the Ivory Coast really beats Kenya 88-70. And the other game in Group D, we did see Uganda against Senegal. Well, they lost out 93-55. So Uganda losing that one. Georgie Deng netting 19 points and 8 rebounds in that one. But the other game in that group saw Cameroon against Sudan, but it was a forfeited game due to COVID-19 and health protocols. It means that South Sudan were awarded 20 points. So let's check out the results for you. D Tigers starting quite well against Mali. South Sudan with Cameroon forfeiting 20 points for them. Senegal against Uganda, good win for Senegal, and Ivory Coast beating the Kenyan side. There'll be more matches today, but we'll look at that much later. Also in the world of sports, looks like it's good news for the Arsenal because Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang of Gabon, wow, he scored a hat-trick yesterday, last night, 6-0. Arsenal thrashed West Bromwich Albion. So it's the case of perhaps the Arsenal are vexing right now, and for this man to score 3 goals. Also another African, Nicolas Pepe of Ivory Coast, scored a goal in that game alongside Bukayo Saka and Alexander Lacazette. So Arsenal, are they back? That's the big question. It was an EFL Cup game and Arsenal won 6 goals to nothing. There'll be more to come when it comes to the world of sports on In the Game much later.